Sounds great.
All right, and they're going to raise their hands for who wants to ask questions next. Let's go ahead.
Oh, I can take it.
We have one. We have one, and then you can go next, and then you can go next.
Sure. Oh, okay. I know, like I can do it. Okay.
Somebody ask me something.
You're still awestruck.
Yeah, I doubt that.
So how does it feel to voice such an iconic character?
Yeah, there's no doubt Mickey is iconic, and with that comes a little bit of intimidation. It's daunting because first and foremost, I'm a huge Walt Disney fan and Mickey Mouse fan by extension. So I grew up watching all the classic stuff, all the classic Walt TV shows, and the history, the legacy is not lost on me. So there's a little bit of pressure that comes with it, but as intimidating as that can be, the joy that you see people experience because of this character is amazing, and that's like it's true motivation to see to play even the smallest part of something that's that effective is pretty cool.
Speaking of Mickey, how was the call that you got for?
I'm sorry, how was the?
When you got a call, how was it?
Yeah, it was extremely surreal when I got the notification that I was cast. So it was a lengthy process that took place, and I had started working on some jobs on kind of a trial basis, if you will, and it was after a couple of those sessions that they actually sat me down before I'd left, and they said, "We'd love for you to be the guy." At the time, I was living out of state in Kansas City, Missouri, so it required me moving. So there's a lot of moving parts when that happened. It was a lot to take in, but it was super surreal. I was not too far away. Where we were recording was pretty close to the Walt Disney Studio lot. And as cheesy as it is, I took a moment to just go walk around the lot perimeter and think about how exciting it was and kind of anticipate how much my life was going to change. And I just remember, kind of just being in awe. I was kind of numb. It's a big thing to be told, that your life's going to change like that. So really surreal.
So what steps did you take to perfect and practice the Mickey voice?
Because I was such a fan, I grew up listening to a lot of Mickey Mouse soundtracks, albums, and all of that stuff. And without even really intentionally trying to practice, I was just talking along with them. So when I'd watch the old cartoon shorts or when I'd listen to the records, I'd just kind of talk like Mickey, "Oh boy," just for fun. And then I was doing that for friends and family just to kind of give them a laugh. But when the audition came across my inbox, then that's the first time I really sat down to kind of practice it. And the audition included lines from everything from stuff Walt Disney had done, all the way up to like the intro to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which Wayne Allwine had worked on. Wayne Allwine was my predecessor and had done the voice for 32 years. So, the audition process was to find a voice match for what we knew Mickey to sound like currently, but also to kind of preserve that legacy, because naturally we all have different voices. 3 guys had done the voice of Mickey up to that point, so they're all slightly different, but it was kind of capturing the essence and then sounding as close as possible. So I definitely listened over and over and over again and practiced before that audition. But I really think the real honing of the skills came after I'd been cast, and it's just it's been 13 years at this point, and those first few years were extremely formative for me because it was just every project we did taught me something new, and a lot of the projects were either adding to or updating projects that Wayne Allwine had already done, and so that involved kind of like a listen and repeat type of situation where they'd play Wayne's lines and then I would record the new version of them. So that was really helpful because he passed away, unfortunately, before I was cast, and I was supposed to be his understudy, so it was going to be like a in-person learning thing, and I didn't get that chance. But those projects that we did where we kind of replaced and updated, those really helped. So it's kind of learning on the fly, on the job training as it were.
Yesterday we had an interview with Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was going to ask you, what was it like working with him as well as the other voice actors for the Walt Disney film? What is that experience like?
That's, unbelievable for me. I think about being like a 7-year-old Disney fan, and the fact that Bill is one of my best friends now is crazy. I was just reflecting on this last night, actually. I was in college, and I found out that Bill was going to be making an appearance at a store in the Sacramento area where my family lives. And I begged my parents and my brothers to go down and meet him. I was like, please take my Goofy DVD set and have him sign it or something. So they went down and they met Bill. I still have that box set with a little Polaroid of him and my 2 brothers. They're really young. It's just funny to me that now, he is one of my greatest friends. I've learned so much from him. He's he's so talented, so humble, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. And he's really, whether he knows it or not, been a mentor to me, and kind of demonstrated how we as the voice actors behind these characters should respect the characters, should treat the characters, and how we should carry on that legacy. I think he's a great example of it. He's a Disney legend. I strive to be similar to him, but it's a lot of fun. They're also talented. I had the privilege of, even though I didn't get to meet Wayne, his wife, Russi Taylor, was the voice of Minnie Mouse up until a few years ago. Sadly, we lost her. And she was a force. She was everything you would want the voice of Minnie Mouse to be. She was spunky, she was sweet, she was funny. She gave the best hugs. And I'm talking about like the type of hugs that if you had a little life meter next to you, it'd be like, it just filled you up. She was a wonderful person. So yeah, I keep using the word surreal, but my experience with those people and with this job, everything's surreal. It is kind of the embodiment of Disney magic. I've learned so much from them. It's an honor to work alongside of them, and truthfully, I don't feel like I deserve it. It's still kind of like, why are you letting me do this with you guys? Because they're so talented. They're amazing people.
So, from all the former Mickey voice actors, do you feel like you have a big shoes to fill?
Yes, particularly when it comes to Walt Disney, because Walt was the first voice of Mickey starting all the way back in 1928, and I can't think of any bigger shoes to fill. We were about the same height, so he probably wore a similar size shoe to me, but still, the metaphorical shoes. They were all tremendous talents in their own right. Walt being Walt and everything he brought to the character, let alone to the company and into the world and to imagination. Jimmy McDonald was the second voice, and he was a sound effects guru at the studio. So he was known for all the Foley sound effects he did on very early Disney films. Everything from the fire in Bambi to the train whistle in Dumbo to countless other things. He was the guy who kind of imagined how you made those sounds for recording. And he took over for Walt Disney around 1947 when Walt was simply too busy. He asked Jimmy, he said, "Can you do Mickey's voice?" Jimmy said, "Oh, I don't know." And Walt said, "Well, you try." And when Jimmy did it, he said, "You're going to do it from now on, I'm too busy." And then Wayne Allwine came into the picture around 1977 when they were casting for the new Mickey Mouse Club at the time in the 70s. And they had done some auditions. They I guess, I can't remember if they didn't find anybody or they're having trouble having people show up for them. I think there was an opening. Yeah, somebody didn't show up, and so they called down to the sound effects studio, which Wayne was working with Jimmy at the time in that office, and they said, send him up, have him do Mickey's voice. He auditioned. Later on, he was walking on the lot, and somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, you need to join SAG, you're going to be the next voice of Mickey." And Wayne was a talented musician, sound engineer, sound effects guru, and gave so much heart and soul to Mickey. He probably talked more as Mickey than any other actor up to that point, because that's when Disney Channel came onto the picture, Disney parks were expanding, toys, manufacturing, all of that stuff. So you think about 32 years in that role. That guy talked a lot. He said, "Oh boy," a lot. So they're all just, they're amazingly talented people. Again, I'm humbled to follow in their footsteps. yeah, it's crazy intimidating, but none more than Walt Disney himself. Like I said, you know, I wanted to be an artist because of Walt Disney. I wanted to be an animator because of Walt Disney. I continue to design and build things because of Walt Disney. So yeah, I'm a trained dork because of Walt Disney. Not necessarily because of, but in conjunction with.
We have time for one more question.
Time for one more? Okay.
MomoCon being a combination of video games and animation, how do you feel about the video game Kingdom Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts is amazing, and I think first and foremost, it's amazing because of the fandom behind it. And I'd be lying if I said I haven't learned a lot about the series because of the fans. You know, I came in after 1 and 2 had already been done, and Wayne Allwine worked on those, and then I started with Birth by Sleep, I believe was my first Kingdom Hearts one, followed by Dream Drop Distance, all the way up to Kingdom Hearts 3. And it's an experience like no other because of the fandom behind it, because of the storytelling, and because Mickey gets to play a version of himself that you don't see anywhere else. You know, King Mickey is pretty cool. And if I can say, I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm thinking. He's pretty bad. Beep. The voice of Mickey wouldn't say that. But no, it's really cool. It's cool to, you know, it's a different acting style. It asks a little bit more of us as performers to kind of get into that nitty-gritty place that's a little bit more real, I guess, realistic, real world than, you know, a magical cartoon world would be. So it's really cool. I have a lot of fun with it. I'm looking forward to whatever the future holds for the series.
All right, well, that's the end of our questioning. Do you mind or do you take pictures with the press?
No, not at all. If you're interested, sure.